And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
I don't think I've ever wanted to be in a stand more than my life around there. They're going crazy. Hey, they got penalty here. There'll be fish flying about there. There's no tomorrow.
What a magnificent piece of football! A really, really good goal. You can't make it straight like that.
Well, that's your volume's fine. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the DN35 podcast special. We have been given a sneak preview of the Grimsby Town documentary, All Town Aren't We, kindly put together by our lanky director expertise, who has been kind to put it all together. And after we finish crying, we're hopefully, I mean, by the time you get to this is pre-Christmas. If I turn the camera around, you'll be able to see a load of Christmas stuff. It'll be out in cinemas at Parkway.
Yep.
Anywhere else? Is it going to Louth where there's an intermission still?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
Might be, maybe,
Good.
maybe not.
Louth cinema's the best.
Any London locations?
Don't think London.
Jackson's.
No, I think it will. In cinemas, it will only be Parkway, and it will only be that week.
Okay.
So buy tickets.
Buy tickets, and you can get them
Please.
from Parkway website.
Yep.
Your own mum.
Your own mum. Yeah, counterfeit versions. No, you can only get them at Parkway or the Parkway website.
Okay, great.
Very, yeah. I can imagine there'll be lots of people turn up at Blundell Park and ask for cinema tickets.
That would be
Just
amazing.
imagine the
Are they not going to put it on the big screen at Blundell Park?
I think by now they might have shown snippets
have
on
they?
the big screen. Yeah, I think there might be some snippetage happening. But yeah, we were thinking there was an early school of thought about doing the premiere at Blundell Park.
Be a bit cold.
It'd be fucking freezing.
Could you imagine? Can you imagine the kittens? The pitch the groundsman's going to have.
Oh,
I was going to
mate,
say
yeah.
pitchman.
Well, there's no way you'd be able to listen to that through the PA system.
Well, that was my worry. Yeah, I was like, because like Docs did the drive-through cinema right during COVID.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, right, that must have been decent. But then obviously they put the little speakers in everyone's cars.
Yeah. Or is it not like a little Bluetooth transponder?
Yeah. So I was like, it's just getting messy. Like it would be like the best thing ever to do a film premiere at Blundell Park.
I am watching you solo.
There he goes. And when would I get to do that again? But I think given it's the middle of winter, nah.
Yeah, no,
Nah.
that's understandable. But
Nah.
now we've been able to collect our thoughts. It was, relive. We got to relive the incredible playoff campaign and that 2015. I'm too far behind. 2020, 2021. Yes, season. It was quite incredible, really. Mike, you were saying it was in hushed voices, so Jack couldn't hear your praise, saying it was bloody good.
I say it's all right, which as a Yorkshireman, that's the extent
highest
of
of
my
praise.
praise.
4 out of 10.
No, honestly, I was getting a little bit emotional watching the end. Actually, brought back some great memories. Yeah, it was fantastic, to be brutally honest with you. Yeah, so well done, mate.
Thank you.
Cracking bit of footage.
Thank you. Well, I didn't write it. It was all there. It would have been hard. It would have been hard to fuck up. I mean, like,
Just ends on Weymouth 1-0 win.
yeah, it would have really taken some editorial rubbishness to cock it up. But
You're telling me this wasn't written? Because there's a good line in there, which in that documentary, which you could have said you wrote it.
what one was that?
The Alan Buckley line.
That is my favourite line. That sounds like it's written, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's just him saying that line. It just gets me. There's a few bits. There's Andrew talking at the end after the full time. That gets me. Alan Buckley's line. I think just because it's him.
Yeah.
It's just so perfect, and it's just beautiful. I didn't notice it when we were shooting with him, because we only had him. It was quite brief. I'd gone way over with Hurst. I'd had Hurst in for like 3 hours.
It's like, mate, I've really got to go and plan pre-season.
Well, it
Kicked
went
off 20 minutes ago. I gotta go.
Well, when we were doing Paul, because obviously he's used to radio interviews
Yeah.
where they maybe ask 4 or 5 questions, 20 minutes, and so he was great. I was like, I basically just need nice 5-second snippets. But I had 6 pages of questions for him. So like by the time we got through to Alan, God bless him, he waited for an hour and a half.
Oh wow!
I felt terrible, but I was like, I need to get at Hurst. And then just lines of brilliance. Like, what a legend.
Was there anyone who you interviewed as a talking head that was particularly disappointing? Any members of this podcast that went on a little bit too long?
Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah.
Used to own a goat, telling you all the stories.
Goat. I was like, Bruce, we don't need to hear about the goat, mate.
Nor do we need to hear about what happened in 1968.
No, to be fair, Bruce was brilliant. Bruce. So I've only really got to know Bruce fairly properly very recently, but I first obviously came across Bruce from the pod. Didn't know that he had like this amazing like archive library, but he does. And then every kind of like 20 minutes for about 6 months, I'd message him like, "Have you got a clip of this? Have you got a clip?" And he was great. He'd upload all these things to Google. Honestly, like Bruce is a legend. Without Bruce, and Bruce did give me very drunk at Oxford the other week.
He did.
So we'll call it a score draw. But Bruce was, Bruce was fantastic. I can't say a bad word about him. I'll let you guys say bad words about him.
Yeah, exactly.
Say several bad words about him.
My only worry is that I do hope that the club have paid for an extra hard drive for Bruce that is somewhere located other than his house. Because if his house burns down, the amount of historical records that are going to be destroyed.
He's got everything. Like everything. I'd ask for like obscure things. Like, have you got anything pre-1960 of the main stand? Yeah, no worries.
Have you got your 2001 Grimsby Town calendar?
With
Steve Caveron.
I was like, I need a Gary Croft goal, and then he sent me a load, and I was like, can you just find me the best one? And he did, like within seconds. Like, I cannot say a bad word about Brucey.
Hello. Yeah, absolutely. This feels a bit like Gogglebox, where the dogs attack. Are you doing all right? Oh, hello.
Okay.
Yeah, hello.
The dog's got something to say.
Hello.
There he is.
Yes.
There are 2 of these dogs. I still don't know which one's
They look the
yours and
same,
which
don't
one's
they?
the other one. There's a visiting pup.
God, you're very lovable this morning. Yes. But Mike, would you like to take?
I think he wants the Andrex job, doesn't he?
One thing that struck me watching it is just the amount of footage in there. Bits and pieces, look, familiar stuff you've seen, the goals in those seasons, but there was some really incredible old footage, black and white stuff, stuff from the 70s and 80s that I've never seen before. How difficult was it getting that?
It was from a real mix of places. I mean, the short answer is very. So some of it's like Pathé footage, so like anything pre-1960, there's a load of Pathé footage. Some of it is like BBC archive. Some of it Bruce had but didn't know where it'd come from. So we had to do quite a lot of hunting down because every clip, like the whole thing can get shut down if you don't get permission for one clip. So everything has to be checked. There was like me and Giles, the producer. I'd be like, oh, no one's going to notice. No, just And then he's like, no, I'm doing my job. And I was like, all right, fair play.
I'm not getting that on my mark.
Yeah. Because that's what he does. It's like it's his job. Whereas I'm just like, oh, fuck it, just no one will know. But no, yeah. So it was hard. But again, like so much of the old match stuff came from Bruce. But then there was some like archive stuff. Pathé was a lot of it.
It must have been great for you to, when you're editing and going through that process, to watch all this footage.
Oh yeah.
But in terms of being somebody that's trying to put together a piece of work that you can sort of separate yourself from, being a Town fan, it must be very difficult. So how was that process? Because I imagine if I had to do that, I'd spend all the time just rewatching everything and not being as objective.
Yeah. No, it is. It's impossible because I'm a Town fan, right? What I do to counterbalance that, I worked with an editor who's a Crystal Palace fan. So he obviously likes football, but it'd be.
So he was saying how.
He
was saying how amazing Ian Holloway was.
He loved Holloway. He was like, "Can't we have more Holloway? Can't we get a Holloway interview?" I'm like, "No, Kevin.
I could absolutely do an Ian Holloway interview if you want me to."
Yeah, I'll dress myself up, put a bald cap on, and just chat shit for 4 hours. I can do your interview. But no, it was, working with someone that wasn't a Town fan meant anything. We had stories in there. Like one of the stories I really wanted to tell was the Macca story from that season, right? Where, starts the season, he's been our keeper for ages, gets dropped. It was a season of like obviously loads of positives, but there was some stuff. There was a lot of stuff. We lost a lot of people during COVID. So we interviewed a lot of people, about their loss during COVID,
Yeah.
and a lot of it obviously didn't make it in just because, you know, either it doesn't help the edit, or it's too Grimsby specific that anyone else watching it, it kind of takes it away.
Can we spend half an hour ranking every individual chippy and which one is the best one? Would be the most Grimsby way of doing it.
There was things in there because obviously we've been to the conference once and got out once, and we kind of summarised that chapter very quickly. But we had versions of the edit where we showed the Forest Green game and going down like Burton and stuff. But it was there's so much story, and the story is not just a promotion season. Obviously, we know that as town fans. But if you just have that in isolation without the background or without anything about the town, to your kind of your neutral, your neutral football fan that's going to watch this, it needs that kind of scene setting. But and then I do it across all my work, like a load of test screenings. So we do test screenings in London, and we probably did again like with 3 Day 10 or 15. Get various people in, different people every time, just to give you opinions on where the slow bits are, where the first cut of the edit's like 2.5 hours, and obviously there's a cinema version now that's 1 hour and 34, and then the 3 episodes once it comes out wider, a little bit longer. But yeah, it's hard, and I only I've just done it with 3 Day now. Like 3 Day's been out a year, so I've only just every year after my thing comes out, I'm kind of emotionally detached enough of it to then be objective, and I just rip it to shit. Because that's how you learn. Yes, there are good bits here, but what are the bits that what could have been better?
That Palace fans obviously done his job really well. Thanks. I mean, we've just watched it, and we're town fans, and it's got everything that we could possibly need. It relives all the right moments, reminds us that epic story, but it also, on the flip side, it ties in really nicely the sort of story of the town and the club interlinked. Yeah. So I think just watching it now, I think they've it's been done really, really well, and I think it captures both those stories and will appeal to both those audiences really nicely. So, keep that Palace fan around, mate.
He's good. I've worked with Kev since my first movie. He's coming to the premiere. It's his first time in Grimsby. Will be for the premiere. He looks like a wizard.
Amazing.
You'll know he is. He looks like he's great. I love Kev. He's I think it was important to work edit wise with a football fan. Yeah, but also one that isn't a town fan.
Yeah, because then they understand the premise. Yeah, and they understand those emotions. Yeah, but especially with someone like Palace and stuff as well. It's a guy who's at least experienced the ups and the downs. Yeah. He's experienced,
proper football club.
Going to Premier League and having to be managed under Ian Holloway. So he's had both spectrums.
But I think it's important. I mean, your demographic that are going to watch this is football fans, right? Yeah. It's probably not wider than that, but it is. You want it to be football fans wider than just town.
Are you slightly worried about the revenge you could get from Wrexham fans? Tanking the reviews.
I totally expect there to be a drop in IMDb ratings in Scunthorpe.
Well, yes.
So you can look by territory.
Can you? Yeah, okay, that specifically.
Mate, yeah. So 3 Day came out in 174 Russian cinemas.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. And scored all right.
Did it really?
Yeah. UK it was best, but then America, because they haven't got a fucking clue what anyone's saying at any point, because the accents. Yeah. It's like fucking 2 out of 10 or some shit. I'm expecting, there's a few, I think Scunthorpe and Lincoln postcodes might drag down.
Wow.
Well, it's Paul Notts County, I guess. Lincoln are all right.
Wow.
Notts County will drag down. Wrexham.
Lincoln are all right are the views of Jack Springer, not the podcast.
Yeah. No, I don't think they're all right. They're not far from all right, but they're not scunny.
No, that's true. And it's always nice to get that little dig in there. Was it when was it filmed? Because obviously it's been a while since it happened. Yeah. So when was the most of the interviews done? And
yeah, we did it the summer we got promoted.
Okay, wow! So straight away.
Yeah, so we obviously me and Andrew have a company together, a production company, and we very loosely talked about the
Only
idea.
Bangers.
Huh?
Please tell me it's called Only Bangers.
VR Bangers. Shush, who you will see on the.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Shush. Me and my missus have arguments about this. Is it shush or shush?
It shushages.
I say shush. Shush. But the idea got very loosely floated about doing it at the start of the season. Yeah. Obviously, there was no story. We were filming 3 Day at the start of that season. I snuck off to many of the early games straight from set. And it's documentary. It's not movie. It's not what I do. but then obviously the story happened, and I was literally walking down the steps at the West Ham ground and text Andrew like, "Yeah, we got to do it now, really, don't we?" That was literally the first thought. Like, not fuck, isn't a bad thing, but like, we're doing this now.
Yeah.
And then I saw Andrew at it's actually called the Barge, but it's right near the West Ham ground. There's a little pub boat.
I did not know this.
Yeah, Hackney Wick.
I mean, I think they're glad that we didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of town fans there.
Was it good?
Are we sure it's not our barge and it's just decamped for the weekend?
Our barge can't move.
It's gone up the
Definitely
Thames
wasn't our barge. £6 a pint. It wasn't our barge.
No, that's true.
and it's level.
Yeah, I couldn't hear Queen of the Stone Age, couldn't hear Slipknot. It's definitely not the barge.
No, it wasn't our barge. But I saw Andrew after the game, and we were like, "Yeah, we're probably going to do this." And within a week, the club said yes. They were great. And literally, it was that. It was the August after we got promoted. A lot of it was filmed in the little room at Cheapside.
Yeah.
And then some of it was filmed at Blundell Park, like interviews wise. And it was the 2 days. One was like 37, the other was 34. So I literally in the back of my car bought my air conditioner from home.
Oh wow.
Because obviously, but you can't have the aircon on while you're doing the interviews because the sound. You can't have the door open either because the light. It was so hot. Like there were people like I remember Scott Woodford in particular. There was a few more like it was sweating. So you can only do 5-minute takes without sweat.
Yeah.
And we had massive things of blue roll next to them, and we'd just do like pauses for sweat. You wouldn't none of this shit you'd know. Like we cleaned it all up, and everyone was great. But
we'll take the sweat out in post.
yeah. But the club were great. You know, like Debbie, Jason, Andrew. Lately people like Jack Johnson at the minute with all the promo on it. Like I can't say a bad word about any of them. Like superb. We got a green light. We got all the access we wanted, all the footage. They said, yes to everything that we asked for.
2 season tickets.
The Jack Spring stand. But and then we finished it in July, like just gone, so about 6 months ago. And then I think there is a altered expectation from the outside world about how long film sales and distribution takes.
Is that the part that
Takes
really
fucking ages.
Well, one of the things I remember you talking to us about when we did the little bit with 3 Day Millionaire was one thing that directors don't know how to do, and so is you don't know how to sell and you don't know how to make money. That's the one thing you really need to know.
It's a bit that you learn, right?
Yeah. And I guess that was the same with this, is it?
Well, like, I mean...
Disney turned it down, did they? They didn't want the extra third season of Welcome to Wrexham spin-off.
I think they knew ours was better.
Yeah.
These are the bits we cut out.
Yeah, they spent a lot more on that one. Like it's not like we do like we do it. Like obviously, if you don't know how to make money from film, you ain't gonna have a career. You might do one and then game over. But it just takes ages. Like we work with a sales agent. In our case, on this one, Propagate. And then there are a lot of territories in the world that they've all got to do deals with. Everyone has to align on release dates, and it's just slow. Like it takes. They send. I am separated from this, but they send it out, and then it's the same across the industry. Like it is such a slow moving industry. That some of the people that we've gone with, it took 4 or 5 months.
Really?
Yeah, like and we had other offers. One offer came in 6 weeks after they sent the email, and it's like you're thinking like in an industry where, and this isn't just us, this is universal. Like Mrs. used to work for a famous chef, and all of their stuff. They have the same thing. It's just a real slow moving part of the industry. I don't know why. Well, I mean, you're dealing with massive corporations, right? They have to have sign off from all the divisions and blah, 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 blah. But it just takes time. Like, it takes ages. And there's part of me that's glad, even just watching that back there, there's now, I think, enough time of separation from it actually happening. Like, if we'd got it out, even if we'd, rushed it and thought, sort of proper release, let's just stick it on whatever in the summer, just to get it out. Like it's not enough time passed from real events. Now it's been like 18 months. It feels like a little bit fresher watching it back. Again, like I'm biased because I spent the last 18 months watching it over and over and over.
Are you a bit sick of Grimsby yet?
No.
I mean, I would be, and I say it with a heavy heart, but if I'd have just done a film and it's all Grimsby all the time, imagine like this is my podcast was my life. My wife would probably say it was, but just focusing on my boss would probably say it is, and then doing it again after what? When did you start filming 3-Day Millionaire, or when did the first premise start?
Yeah. I mean, that was years. That was like 2018. I first got sent.
And now it's 5 years ago then.
Oh man, even when it came out on Netflix, I was so done with it. You know, like you are.
Yeah.
Like we got it's all like 3-day stuff's come back up. Like Netflix released their data for the first time ever. So we had 700,000 hours of 3-Day Millionaire watched in the UK.
Wow.
Which is 700,000 people watching for 1 minute and then turning off.
Okay.
1 hour.
I think that's how we do our views.
That's
on
not how maths
Yeah.
works. But yeah, like, you know, and then it's like you're suddenly talking about. But like, I think the reality sort of is in a way like I make films because I like making films.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy the release.
No.
Like because you're kind of done. Like you know your job's
You're on
finished
to
in
the
June.
next thing, yeah.
Yeah. You know, this is different because it's town and like you've got a pre-built audience and it's like.
But did you feel like there was an extra weight of expectation? You know, this is a material that you love. Like, I wouldn't want to manage town. In Football Manager, I'm amazing, but I think I'd be cool and calm and collected at any other club. But, you know, at Blundell Park, I'd be, you know, kicking buckets over. And
I'd be waking up in cold sweats every single night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why wasn't he on the back post? The twat?
There was, I mean, there's so much less risk, right, in this compared to 3-Day because you've already got a pre-built audience. You know, you're gonna have to make something pretty shit for your, you know, town fans.
And it's not a bad story, I guess.
Oh, exactly. And then the story's already written, you know, and then, you know, the story's written, but then your editor is, you know, essentially kind of the writer in that he decides, you know, how we're going to tell the story. You know, like so much more, this isn't me deflecting blame on if people think it's shit, but like so much more of the onus on a doc is on the editor, you know, than the direct. You know, my job's to get the emotion out of people in the interviews and, you know, craft it, but there's an awful lot. And
I like the idea that you're just talking to Dan about his long lost dead puppy or something like that, just to get tears.
But
You were never loved as a child and film.
Yeah.
Well, with Dan, I know Dan very well, and I knew I could get some tears out of him. So I
Kicked him in the bollocks.
I did a little edit. I did a little edit montage of the playoff emotional bits with some emotional music.
Okay.
Made him watch it. Click record. Right, Dan, you're gonna cry now. And he was. And that was good.
What about the interviews? I mean, I think you're right from what you say in terms of there's enough time passed. You know, I watched this just now, and there's bits I'd forgotten about. There's bits that invoked memories that had.
We both forgot about the disallowed goal at Wrexham.
Yeah.
For them, not for us.
Absolutely.
I was thinking.
I'd no idea that actually happened. I couldn't remember. All I remember from the game and the playoff campaign is this block of emotion, of nerves and of angst. And to sit there and watch it now in the cold light of day, once all that's dissipated, I think you can appreciate it more. Absolutely. And I think that comes through. But I was going to say, in terms of the interviews, especially with the players, do you think it was helpful to do them so early that people still had those memories?
Yeah.
And sort of how was that process? You know, people like Paul Hirsch said he was there for a couple of hours with, like, how was it getting things out of them? Because they all seem to be really engaging and having some good views on what happened. Like, you go from Danny Amos to Harry Clifton and they're telling the same story about the final whistle, and you can actually see them in the footage doing what they're saying. So how was that?
It was good. I hadn't seen any of the footage apart from obviously what we all knew existed kind of at the time. So again, kudos to Kevin, the editor, for, you know, bringing them emotional bits together. But I was way more nervous interviewing town players than I was anyone else. Obviously, we've got Ryan Reynolds and Rob McLeary interviewing it. I was on Zoom with them.
Do you want to pick that up there? That just dropped there, that name.
Rob Ryan?
Yeah, Jordan Maguire.
Let's pull some Hollywood favours, don't we?
It's just for the IMDb rating.
What were they like when you broached it with them? How did no, hang on, I'm going to do this. How did the move come about?
So,
What sort of director are you?
one that will do anything.
That is true.
So Rob and Ryan, Jason was in the Wrexham one.
Yeah.
Jason said to me, I think, you know, can we get Ryan in? I was like, yeah, no chance, mate.
Yeah.
No chance. And a week later we had him in.
Wow.
So fair play to Jason Stockman on that one.
Did you go over and do those interviews?
I was on Skype.
He was on Skype.
Zoom. It was it was during the 3-day release. We were on our cinema tour this time last year. So I couldn't go out, and it was all like, you know, like they were, to their credit, they were like, yeah, you know, we could do it tomorrow. They were great, absolutely brilliant. But it was quite surreal being on Zoom, especially Rob after. Like Rob's far more into the data and the he knows his shit about non-league football.
That's amazing.
And he was literally going through like the squad list, asking about each of our good players' contractual situation. It was like that McAtee then. That McAtee. And McAtee's, I think he'd already gone to Luton, hadn't he, by that point.
Yeah.
So I was like, you missed out on that one. But it was surreal, man. Like, it was like when you're interviewing people like that or working with anyone like that, you have this assumption that they're obviously their time is very valuable and you kind of, you don't want to take the piss. So we'd done the interviews, I probably had 10, 15 questions for each of them. And, I was like, okay, thank you, that's great. And then it was them that were continuing the conversation about lower league football. And we were just there for like half an hour for each of them.
Where's the best place to park at Wilston? That sort of thing. Is that what I was asking?
The shock had hit them big time. In terms of
park.
Yeah, but I was far more nervous with the Town players. Going back to Mike's question, just because they're my heroes, and it's and combined with the fact that you think you're going to think that getting emotion out of footballers is going to be tricky based on watching every Premier League interview that you've ever seen, just being but these boys aren't like that, they're just real people. There's no media crap. They're open, and I think it was good that they knew I was a Town fan.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Scannell when he first came in, for the interview. He didn't know I was a Town fan, and he played for Huddersfield when they beat us at Blundell Park in the FA Cup.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, 2016, I don't know. And I said, you changed the game when you came on against us that day. And he was like, who do you support Town? And you could tell, relaxed.
Yeah.
No one's there to obviously stitch anyone up or, it's not just another generic, crappy, someone that doesn't know the club coming in and making a generic-y football documentary.
So do you think you gained a lot more trust from everybody involved? That most of the fans and the players involved, they know you, they know you're a Town fan. Do you think that gave you an extra layer to it?
Yeah, I think it probably helped. I think the thing that it did very much help with, and again, thing that's a little bit different to other football docs, is that I knew who we wanted to interview outside the players, who had the stories, who had the personalities, who had the backstories that were relevant to what I wanted to get out in terms of fans, staff. There's a lot of stuff that didn't make it in that is kind of extremely emotionally poignant, but just being a Town fan, and quite a big Town fan, who these people are. It's not just the obvious, let's get fucking someone with no story that works at the club.
What's up?
I was just pointing. That's why me and you weren't in it, Alex. He didn't ask us. He only asked the relevant people.
I don't want to. I didn't want to overshadow Ryan Reynolds' part in the documentary, so that's why I declined.
I did ask you to come. I did ask you.
You did.
I didn't know
We
you.
worked out earlier. You thought you asked me. You must have asked somebody else. There's somebody randomly going away from Town game going,
Ryan Reynolds.
this really tall bloke's asked me to go on his thing.
Ryan Reynolds. That was what it was. He just mistaken you two. That was all.
Big Ryan.
Big Ryan.
But no, man, I had such a great time doing it. It was great. I do now need to do something that isn't Grimsby.
What are you going to do? Some sort of made in Chelsea? Do made in Chelsea for a little bit. just you do. What is it you meant to do? One labour of love, one corporate thing to make the money, then another labour of love, and then just keep doing. So do a bit of made in Chelsea, middle class bourgeois.
Made in Sutton.
Yeah.
Made in Sutton.
Made in Sutton sounds a bit more
SM1,
stabby to be in Tottenham.
The Grimsby Town Sutton branch is growing.
It is.
2 members. Well, we've got my dad as well, 3 members.
And my son 4. There's 4 of us.
4.
We've got quorum soon.
My mates came to a couple of games in 07. We can count them in.
There's got to be something said for the fact that us 3 don't live. We live 200 miles away now from Grimsby, and that town keeps. I don't want to be like in Goodfellas, but they keep pulling you.
Yeah.
Look, and I mean, Jack.
Did I get the right film then?
Yeah, you did.
Go, thank God.
Yeah, but it's like Jack probably demonstrates this more because Jack hasn't actually spent any time in Grimsby as far as I'm aware, sort of living as a kid.
There.
But I moved into Grimsby as a child, started supporting Town, and moved out again pretty soon.
Yeah.
And to me, and you can see this in the documentary with the fans and what it means, the club, but also the town. To me, I've always kept that that link and that connection with Grimsby, just because of the type of place it is and the type of people that are there. So somebody that hasn't really got any connection to Grimsby at all, other than I live there and I support the football club, I think that comes across really well when you have people just speaking about Dave Moore, when you had him at the start, just explaining Grimsby and how everybody used to laugh at Grimsby, and it's this place up north where they used to fish, and that it actually means more to people. I think that comes across really well, and I can relate to, and I'm sure you two can as well.
Yeah, it's such a strange, large part of my identity. Like, I never lived there. I went to school there. Like, my dad's from there, dad's side of the family, nan and granddad. I like spent a lot of time there as a kid on like every school holiday. We'd go up, and then my dad started taking me to town when I was 4 or 5, and I learnt new swear words, so I kept going back, and I still do learn new swear words every game. And yeah, like, you know, for someone that's not actually from Grimsby, I don't know. I've always had more. I think when you're from London, like, you know, London is, everyone from London looks, sounds, and feels extremely different, and like, I think Grimsby, you know, like, it's as a place, you know, everyone's got the same accent, you know, like, everyone, it just feels like more of a sort of cohesive place in many ways.
Feels more comfortable.
Yeah,
I think,
it feels like.
And it's sort of like that. So where we are now, we're in sort of Aldershot, which is actually, for those of you who don't know, it's got you've almost got London, and then you've got like the Greenbelt, and then this is the next part, and this is a whole line of towns of like Guildford, Farnham, Woking, Camberley, Bracknell, Farnborough, and that, you know, it's about 500,000 people in this sort of strip, but there's no identity because everybody, unlike in Grimsby, and you know, people can disagree, but you're in a town where the whole world revolves around that one town because it's so isolated.
Yeah.
You go to shop there, you go to hospital there, you go to college there, you go to school there. Everything you do, you go there, unless you're going on a big trip and you go 2 hours to Meadowhall and even Hull, because when we grew up, it might be different now, but because it was £3.70 on the bridge to get there and back, it's like, it's £3.70 single. It was like £7 to get there. We never went to Hull, which was only like up the road, and it becomes a huge part of it. It is the world you revolve around, and I think that's one of the. I have a tendency to romanticize the place. I'm sure if I went back within like 2 days, I'd be like, fucking shithole.
That's where I get to after my annual 2 weeks at the Fitties, being a Yorkshireman, and I go to Thorpe Park. After 2 weeks, I'm like, I've had enough now. I'll go back away for a couple of months.
I can't keep eating fish and chips. I've got to try. Where's my Nando's? And then, but it is an incredible. There are so many stories like that, and I don't know about you guys, but I end up finding town fans everywhere I go.
Oh, absolutely.
Even in my work, there's 4 of us, I think, you know, in the defence industry and stuff. It's incredible that they just pull out of the woodwork, and we meet at these events. We all end up like going to a little corner, and sort of just talking, and then everybody else in where you work, I don't know, knows you as a Grimsby fan. Yeah, like the amount of important people I speak to, and the first thing they go, "You guys had a stinker at the weekend."
Yeah. It's kind of cool supporting it. Like, I remember being a kid, you know, South London, and you're right, by the way, about the kind of, when you are from a place like that, the lack of identity.
Yeah,
like, I think it's spot on. Like when you're a kid and you're in a black and white shirt, and everyone thinks it's a Newcastle shirt, and you know it's
then
not.
You come into focus.
Yeah, and it's not cool supporting Grimsby, and then as soon as you like become sort of early 20s plus, it's, people find it really interesting.
It is, yeah.
And it's like, it's this weird niche sort of a hipster-like thing.
I'm trying my best not to make it the only part of my personality.
Yeah. Mate, honestly, it's tough. I got a UTM tattoo not long ago.
Oh wow, let's have a look. You can show the camera, okay? Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Understated.
So, it's actually in the wrong place.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I went on a stag do in Austin, and
you didn't know the American for arse cheek.
Well, I thought it was going to be lower, or did I think it was going to be higher? I can't even see.
I wimped out of the 3 fish. I've got to get it done. I never did it. So when we did Operation Promotion, I said I'd get a tattoo if we got promoted.
I've always meant to do that one,
and I never did. But I know Hannah's got it.
Disley got one, didn't he?
Yeah, Disley got it, and now I feel like I should maybe. One of my friends is from Grimsby, now lives in Poole. And her favourite thing is that she says her godfather is Sting, because it is. And we used to live, that used to be her house. Whenever we went into Grimsby on a night out, like Park Lane and stuff in the barge, we'd all go and stay there. And she has the bass. They had the bass from Walking on the Moon. I'd be like trying to do not touch that. It's very expensive.
Fucking hell.
But yeah, she's a tattoo artist, so I might go down and get it done. And
There you go.
there you go. That was where that story was meant to go. Sorry.
Just going back to the point you're making about towns and identity, I think you're right. I mean, I live in London, and you can interchange one small commuter town for another, and it's just like an IKEA town. It's the same. So I'm born in Maltby, which is a mining town, and that's community is all about the mine and what have you, and Grimsby, it's all about the fishing industry. So it's funny how these stories interlink with usually a sports team in a town with an identity like Grimsby is very much sort of interlinked into the town's identity. And if the town does well, the club generally does well, and vice versa. So it's interesting you explored that in the film as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are kind of linked hand in hand, right? Like you look at a lot of the football clubs that have gone bust, they're from ex-industrial towns, that were once, pretty wealthy places, but probably aren't now. And a lot of the, you look at like a lot of the London clubs, they're so rich, and they've got massive grounds, and I think that there probably is a interesting correlation there. But yeah, with the doc, I thought it's so important, because you got two audiences, right? You got town fans, and then you got the football fans that aren't town fans. And I think for that latter group, there's going to be an assumption about what Grimsby is.
Absolutely,
that I think needs addressing and modernising, and a nod to the very proud kind of fishing past that obviously we got into a 3 day as well, but also talking about the future and the fact that there's pride back in the place. And I don't know whether it's something about growing up or something that's actually real, but even my perception of what people think the town is now compared to 10 years ago, it's massively more positive.
Well, one of the things I noticed in the documentary is you don't actually dwell on that, because it does feel like that story is changing. There's been a lot of focus on Grimsby, I think, actually, for a small provincial town, whether it be the poverty porn you see on Channel 5 and Channel 4, or the film Yourself did, or even that crappy one that Baron Cohen did, where there is a little bit of conversation around the town being deprived of its industry and stuff. And it feels like that story has moved on another chapter now, where it's actually talking about, we did, but now we are looking into new energies, we're reimagining ourselves, and that feels like we've moved on from that conversation. We don't need to. You didn't feel like you. I don't want to speak for you, but it doesn't feel like you needed to say, "Oh, this is what's happened. This is where it is, and this is what. Let's look into it deeper, and this is what effect it had on the townspeople." You just need to make a note of it and say, "Look, this is what we were, and now it's look what's changed."
Yeah, I think editorially you've got to get into the story at a certain point as well.
Yeah,
like I think within 15 minutes we're at the first game of the season, something like that. So like I was quite keen, like with 3 day, I think one of the weakest parts is the start. I think it would take too long to get into it, so I had that in my head on this. I was like, right, and I want to get to the playoff games by 45 minutes and give half the doc to the playoff games. I had quite strict sort of barriers with that, but I think I think on an editorial standpoint, getting into the story, but equally you have to set the scene, considering that the audience isn't necessarily just town fans.
What was your was there anyone you missed out on for interviewing that you would have liked to have had?
Yeah, Manny D. Nobly, he wanted to leave. He didn't want to do it because he wanted to leave on his interview, like on his.
Okay.
He was too busy just chucking himself at random shit.
Well, I can't, it was, we did ask, and I totally understood why he wanted to leave it on the air, just fucking throw it.
Yeah. Well, it's absolutely perfect, so I'll be honest with you.
He's not going to tell me anything that isn't better than that, is he?
I love the idea. In 10 years' time, he's going to come back for a charity game of some sort, and he's going to be absolutely adored. And my child, who's like 18, like, why are you all going mad? You just had to be there.
There was Andy Smith as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Andy wanted to do it, but I was doing Paul Hurst, and Andy needed to go, so we didn't get around to doing it. That would have been good, but we pretty much got everyone else. That you probably would have wanted.
Anybody you wish you hadn't interviewed and you've
Bruce.
Kept in there, like Bruce.
Bruce. Yeah, I had to do him a favour because he gave me all that archive footage.
One thing I would say is the owners, are always open. what I found in this, you did see a little bit of an avenue into their personality a lot more. How long did you film with them, and how interesting was that to go through? Because I would imagine, from a director's point of view, you're having to try and push them to places to talk about things, and because you're talking about Jason, about his childhood. So how was that process, and how long did you have with them?
Yeah, a lot of my job was that. I went into, 'cause I think you have two jobs when you're directing documentary, like interviews for documentaries. One is to get people to like and invest in them as characters. And how do you do that? You show, not necessarily vulnerability, but you try and get them to show emotion, and I think there are a lot of stock questions that you get on these type of things, and not a lot of people delve into childhoods or past life or loss or, mistakes that they've made in their career and how that's affected, like I kind of wanted something different and a bit fresh. And to everyone's credit, they were all gave me everything that I wanted. Even people like McAtee talking about their his family and his childhood, and Jason and Andrew in particular. Obviously, I've worked with Andrew for a few years. I have a company together. Have I mentioned that already? Yeah, I was at pre.
Shush.
I can't remember what was pre-pod and post-pod.
No, it's fine.
Because and I mentioned that because, as well as Jason, there was a bit in the film that we've just watched where Town have gone up, and I don't know how much I can say, but Town have gone up, and you have that interview with Andrew, and how he's speaking about his family and things, and that to me, pretty much other than the football, was probably my favourite bit in terms of you saw an insight to what it actually means to them as owners, and that it isn't this business we own. I can remember when I was a kid, and my dad was bringing me here, and I've just taken them back into the Football League, and how that sort of emotionally was for him, because obviously his dad had passed away during that season.
Yeah, like we all know they're Town fans, but I wanted to know, how did you get into Town? Who started bringing you? What are your kind of deep emotional links? If it was me, someone asking me them questions, you'd get a lot more kind of insightful, emotional response than just I'm a Town fan. And I think so. I thought that was important, and they were both great. I think I've known Andrew a while, knew Jason for quite a while before we did this, and same with Debbie. And everyone was just really open, and ultimately, the better documentary we make, the better it is for the club, right? But I have to tip my hat to everyone. Even some of the players. There's stories that we got that didn't make it into the cut. Beautiful bit. I remember like Danny Amos gave a cracking interview. Beautiful, talking about his upbringing, his family. There was some real lovely bits. People like Francine and the ticket of it. There's so much. If you start making a 4-hour cut, it's not the medium for film, right? But there is so much more that we could have put in, but it's always a balance between the story and the emotion and the pace.
Oh, the only person I'd have loved to have seen you interview would have been John Moore.
We didn't do John Moore. He would have been great though.
Yeah, we struggle to get him on the pod. We are trying.
Yeah.
He's a difficult man to. He's a myth.
I wouldn't know what he looks like.
No, that's true.
What is John Moore?
I like the fact that I shocked you both by saying that Tonda used to have a moustache, and neither.
I'm still not getting over this information. You told me about 2 hours ago, and I'm still a bit not used to that.
I don't like that.
I've got to do a Google search when I get home. I've got to find some stuff I don't want to find on Google, Anna.
Yeah, it's JT's moustache.
So just in terms of that footage you were saying about that hasn't made the cut, is there any scope at a later date? Obviously now because you've just done the film, probably want to relax. But is there any scope for putting that together, getting it out there?
I don't know how to do that in a sort of tactful way that doesn't mean just making another documentary. Yeah. I think I have to respect people's. They gave me an interview to be, for the documentary. I think it'd be a bit scabby, just flinging bits out there. But there is loads. There's obviously a whole FA Cup story as well that may have a better chance.
So that's my next question. So season 2.
Yeah.
It's got a better storyline than the Wrexham one.
It does have a better storyline there. I think everything does. Season 2. Obviously, part of it's been shot. Part of it hasn't yet. We're very busy, with movies. So yeah, we'll wait and see before anything gets announced or anything happens. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I need to do some stuff that isn't Grimsby now. You know,
His next documentary is around the fish and chip industry.
yeah, the Cod
Louth.
Wars, the Cod Wars.
The only one man could do it.
Yeah, yeah, we've got 2 movies kind of pretty imminent. One in the UK, one in the US. So they unfortunately have to take sort of.
It'd be nice to have a break from it, though. I guess.
I love it. I love it. But you know, I'm petrified about being henned in as too British. Never mind too Grimsby. Yeah,
I need this man.
yeah.
But
I
it's
mean,
you know, they've taught. We had these questions for the owners. They're like, what are they doing to try and entice players to the club? This can only be a nice little add-on that you can send to a player. Go, if you want to get involved.
yeah,
Here's my Vimeo login.
yeah. Well, I think it was probably Vimeo. Don't say Vimeo.
Oh, sorry. here's my YouTube login.
I think you need a strategic bleep in this now. Don't you? 2 strategic bleeps.
No. What was the question?
Like being
Players.
able to give it to
Yeah,
players
yeah,
to
yeah.
entice them.
Well, I think you know, without wanting to talk on behalf of the club, like the aim of this is twofold: is, you know, to be a decent thing commercially for the club and spread the gospel about. Well, exactly. Yeah, like you know, like if you were a player deciding whether to go to us or fucking Chesterfield, then you watch that, then
There's no doubt, is there?
you'd hope not.
You give it to. You make sure you send it on to obviously to Ryan and Rob and say, look, if you want to get into lower league football.
Got any friends?
Yeah.
There is
Danny DeVito's got a bit of cash, hasn't he?
by the time that this has come out, you might have seen some Twitter activity.
Oh right. Is it what?
Based.
Okay.
Tell us in a
I
minute.
can't mention Vimeo.
Well, no, I forget it's out. So yeah, you would have probably seen on Twitter, unless the plan's gone to hash,
Okay.
that we're sending them both, as was tradition with the away teams that visited Blundell Park, a pallet of fish.
Oh, nice.
Is coming their way as a thank you for.
Oh, that's amazing.
By the time it reaches LA, it ain't
It
going to be frozen.
Can you imagine we've just started some sort of war?
Intercepted by fucking US border control.
I like the idea though that what was meant to be a nice gesture actually goes and is taken the wrong way as they get rotting fish.
It's an insult, yeah.
That's it.
Oh mate, I have to put on record though how great Rob and Ryan and their teams were in organising this.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
they didn't have to do it.
No.
Yeah, no way. You know, like, and they were so quick and so up for it. And yeah, my IMDb is going to be popping.
I can
off.
imagine. Yeah.
It's the only reason they're in there.
Yeah,
You got to
Actually,
put Bruce's name in
yeah.
between them.
I did have some editorial control about who went next to them in the credits.
Did you? Oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to have a look.
I can't remember who I put, but I must put someone there.
Was it you? Jack Spring.
It just
Jack
comes
Spring.
up. Yeah, directed by Jack Spring, starring Ryan Reynolds and Rob McAlelly.
Also
Fuck
starring
off
Jack
everyone
Spring.
else.
Just in terms of like you're saying about investment, and it brings up a better picture of the area and the football club. Are you going to pop over to a place like an affluent place in Saudi Arabia and just leave a couple of these lying about in case a rich
VHSs.
oil baron wants to have a look at a small northern football club?
I'll do what I can. Bring in some Hollywood investors. But no, I mean, having gone through the process, I think it's fairly apparent to every Town fan that we are in extremely safe hands.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is just fantastic. I think that's what excites me most. This story's been and gone. We know what happened last year with the FA Cup. But the best is still to come. They've only had just under 3 years.
And we
Le-
got to
less
the
than
FA
that,
Cup
2.5
quarterfinal and
years.
Promotion.
Yeah, I mean, fucking hell, it's not been bad, is it? And there's so much to do at the club. That they're only kind of getting started, and some of the things that are going on behind the scenes is like very exciting, and we're only going in one direction. I don't expect to ever be making a documentary again about how we get out of conference.
No,
We've still got the Artel years to
Yeah.
come, haven't we?
Oh mate, it'll be. I think we'll have to save season 2 maybe for when we win the Champions League,
Amazing.
win the World Cup.
I think we're done then, are we? We've
I think we're
got a
done.
nice little Christmas thing.
Yeah,
You guys have got to
little
go.
bonus
And it's,
ship.
what, 9:45?
9:45 on a Monday.
And you,
We don't have to
all
live.
the real party people do.
Yes. Well, I hope everyone joins us on Friday, January the 5th,
Yeah.
which should be this Friday coming up
Yeah.
by the time this airs. I hope that we've pretty much sold out of tickets by that point.
I'd imagine you have.
I hope so. We're 3 days in and we've sold 600. And I think there's only another 400 or 500 left.
Well, then you'll be fine, won't
I
you?
hope so.
There's a
I'm
lot
going
of
to look
people-
silly if we haven't.
Well, there's a lot of people coming up with some Christmas pennies to spend, isn't there?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is, talk about a time to try and get people to spend money. We picked our time, didn't we? But no, we obviously got the free
You
weeks.
should do an executive package. You should do fish and chips in McMenemy's, then drive them on the Brexit bus to Parkway to
GY special.
to do the cinema.
That would be good. I mean, I hope and don't hope that someone sets off some pyros at Parkway.
Could you imagine?
I don't know. I put it out there. I
Scenes.
don't want anyone to do that because then everyone will have to fucking get outside and the film will be ruined.
But we have worked out a nice drinking game as well. Every time you see a Boris Johnson bobble hat, you have to take a shot.
Yeah,
Slaughtered
there
in
are a few-
episode 1.
Yeah.
Or a few BJ hats.
It's a good job you bought this non-alcoholic beer with you, isn't it?
Honestly, we'd be
8-year-olds coming out absolutely vomiting into the
throwing
aisles.
things at the screen. But yeah, I came up with this. Pack the Parkway.
Pack
Good
the
that,
Parkway.
innit?
Oh,
It's very good.
where you've got that, I don't know where you
Learn the
plucked that
beans on
from,
this
mate.
one.
Yeah. But I do hope everybody that gets a chance to go and see it does, because I mean we've just watched it now, and it's not because you're just our mate and you're on the same podcast. It is really good. So well done, mate. It's cracking.
No, Jack,
Thank you.
Jack doesn't do the pod. What Jack does is he sits in the WhatsApp group watching us all, go at each other about rumours, like the manager. And Jack's just there on his... this is very
I haven't got any
As I talk to
intel.
my partner in my shushages business.
I think the amount of people that messaged me when we were after a new manager,
Yeah.
I knew nothing. I never know nothing. I don't know nothing, and it wouldn't be within
Your
my
Honour.
interest to spill it, even if I did know something.
It just sits in the London group as well, because we've got the London supporters WhatsApp group. It just quiet, and then till randomly says, "Does anybody know where I can get images of this from?"
Yeah,
Just literally that's all he uses
Oh
it for.
shit, Bruce isn't
Yeah.
in this group.
It's when I need
Sorry, wrong
Bruce
group.
or a PR opportunity, and my good pals Alex and Mike. I'm joking. No, I am
Or-
guilty.
or-
Sunday nights are a
Or
big night.
swearing in the car
Yeah, well, the problem is yeah,
on the side.
I enjoy listening to it too much.
Yeah,
Like it's my running thing,
yeah.
and I'll split it up over 2 runs. Depends how long you blab on for.
That's true.
Um,
Bruce does affect your running.
And it's been Monday, Tuesday morning, so I don't like coming on because then
Ruin it.
yeah,
Well, it's like I can't listen to the podcast because I don't want to listen to my own voice.
yeah.
Which you can now understand why it's not edited. And then, I don't want to listen to the other one in case it's really good. I don't want to do it anymore. But it's funny, isn't it? And I loved your face when you worked out that you could put swear words through my car and it comes through the speaker.
Oh, that was fantastic.
You looked like
what a
a
moment!
pig in shit.
What a moment!
As I said to him at Oxford, there's a new thing now. When I know you're driving back from a game, all we're all doing is just sending you swear words.
No,
That's
mate.
amazing.
Just,
That-
Alex must be 20 minutes into the drive now. Somebody texts him calling him a prick or something.
My Alexa mutes it.
Does it?
Yeah, so I'll be like, Alexa, repeat after me, you're a piece of shit. And it'll be like,
Do you have to take
You're
the
a piece of-
moderation functions off? We'll have to have a look into it.
can you
then.
do that?
I know my sister hates me and my brother does because I do the whole Alexa order like 40,000 toilet rolls. Yeah, and my brother's like set his alarm 4:01 a.m., 4:03 a.m., 4:00. Just
Oh, this is going to be difficult now when I start doing this, because you're going to forget that I've told you I'm doing it, and
Actually-
you're going to think, why has Mike just called me a prick? And I'm
Yeah.
bringing it up. What are you doing?
Mike has been removed from the group.
You can do so Alexa has different accents. Not many people know this. So ask Alexa, change accent. You can get the angry South African man.
Oh, do you?
fucking
My Siri's
hilarious.
the Irish lady.
I never knew any of this. This is life-changing information
Shouts,
to me.
rugby,
Rugby.
discipline. That's all it says.
I thought it was South African, not Welsh.
Rugby.
That was very good South African. I'll give him that. Yeah, that one was good.
rugby.
It's nice to doing a pod like sat here
It
instead
is,
of
isn't it? It's
on a
quite-
Zoom.
It's too chilled, though. You know, I mean,
Like
legs
we're on-
crossed,
under
we're
the
just
clock.
chatting.
The dog's already asleep.
I can't believe there's people still listening to us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's getting late, isn't it? It's getting late. We're blobbering, but that dog looks like it's. I
Both of them.
I
look
want the
like they're
dog's bed. It looks far more
Which
comfortable.
one do you want? Because there's two.
The
so
li-
you
the-
can't
the-
see my dog in the corner.
No, that one's already got a dog in it. The other one,
It's nice.
my in-laws have got. Talking of in-laws,
Yeah.
so they're not actually. We're not married, but the premiere on January 5th will be the first time my parents and Alana's parents have met.
In Grimsby.
And
Oh
the
my
premiere
God.
Are you
in
going to go to
Grimsby.
Steele's?
I should do, shouldn't I?
You should.
Or
Because
just straight to the barge.
where are Alana's parents from?
Posh part of Leeds.
Posh part of Leeds.
There's no posh
So
part of
heading-
Leeds.
Shadwell. It's like fucking Andrew lives next to it.
Oh, they're going to be the sort
Well
of ones to
nice.
go, there's Papa's there, let's go in there. Because
Oh.
that's
That's a good sense to whether you need to,
yeah.
if it can continue. Like if they go to Papas or Steels, you can choose.
Yeah, I think I'll take him. I'll give him the barge or Matrix.
Right, we're going to the barge, we're going to the Matrix, then we're going to finish off in Gullies, and then VKH at the
Then
end.
we're out. Then we're out. So yeah, buy him a stiff drink if you see them.
Before we do finish, can I just point out, I'm at Alex's house now, the first time ever, and I thought his pod office was just under the stairs. What I didn't know is there's actually a toilet you have to go through first to get to the pod office.
It's great.
So when
have
you
that
see him,
built specific?
when you see him sat there, there's literally a foot away is a toilet.
Would you like me to flush the toilet next time we're on the pod?
I don't know how I'm going to cope with this now, knowing that somebody could be
Just
having a poo.
Yes, it is. But, I don't know what else we're meant to do with that room. It's so massive as well.
What was it before it was a pod room?
This is a brand new house, so it wasn't used for anything. It was just a massive empty space.
I love it.
It's like completely pointless. And it's I mean, for a podcast studio, it's quite small. But for
perfect.
anything else, I mean, Harry Potter would have felt very spacious in there. But
Well, I've taken a picture. I'll put it on Twitter so people can know what I'm
have
talking
they really?
about.
Oh, good. Okay, I didn't know that. Taking photos of my house. Right. Thank you all so much for listening. Hope you had a good new year. We'll be back at some point, I guess, unless we can count this as an actual pod and then we don't have to do one and we get Sunday off.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, we can wing that, I'm sure.
The
And we'll speak to you in a
Mariners.
bit. See you later. Bye.
Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
I don't think I've ever wanted to be on a stand more than my life around there. They're going crazy. Hey, they got penalty here. There'll be fish flying about there. There's no tomorrow.
What a magnificent piece of football! A really, really good goal. You can't make it straight like that.